Good afternoon. I am Sonica Aron, and I have 2 children, 1 dog, 2 cats, and only 1 husband. And yes, I'm still alive. I am also the founder and CEO of an organization that specializes in diversity and inclusion consulting. But today, I am not going to speak about diversity numbers, charts, trends, none of that. Today, I am here to speak as a mother. A mother who is bringing up children in a world where people continue to have an opinion about what a boy can be or cannot be, what a girl can be or cannot be, what a man can do or cannot do, what a woman can do or cannot do. You know, my family is possibly the most egalitarian setup that you would see. In the last 20 odd years that I have been married, I can count on my fingertips the number of times I have entered the kitchen. And that too would have been to make myself a cup of instant coffee or to get my dog some kibble. However, when the COVID lockdown happened, it was not me who learned how to cook. It was my 12-year-old son who took to YouTube videos and learned how to cook. Today he is 17 and he can whip up any MasterChef dish. My husband cooks and my 12-year-old daughter plays football. That is the kind of household we are, where gender norms have never been a consideration, where the message is simple: be who you are, do what you do, nothing matters. But then something happened, and that made me sit up and think. My son would have been about 8 or 9 years old, and he had to go for his football class. He came to me and asked me, "Mama, who is going to drop me?" Our older driver had left and we had kept a new driver. So I told him that there is a new driver, go. So he left and he came back within 2 minutes. And he says, "Mama, there is no driver bhaiya outside. There is a Didi standing next to the car." And I said, "Yeah, we have a lady driver now. She will drop you." And there was this perplexed expression on his face. And that was the moment in which I realized, despite being brought up in a family where gender norms were busted every moment, where dinner conversations were all around inclusion, my 8 or 9-year-old boy already had a perception that drivers could be men but not women. Societal norms start conditioning you from the moment you are born. Patriarchy does not knock, it creeps in. And that was when I realized that for all the D&I work that we do, I have to be extra careful, extra vigilant about the messages that I am giving at home to my children so that they do not get trapped into doing what the world expects them to do, what the gendered societal norms expect them to do. And today, I stand here and share some of those moments and conversations. To that side. You know, as my children grew, they fought their own battles. And however much we try to shield them, protect them, there were some things they had to face on their own. While my daughter's friends, they were all looking for dolls, art and craft kits, dance classes. Ira had a mind of her own. She said she wanted to play football. So we said, okay, and we signed her up. She went for her first class. Silky hair drooping over her eyes, shoelaces undone, and she walked onto the field. And I am standing outside. And there were other mothers. So one mother looks at me, looks at her, and she says, so cute. And then she looks at me, and she says, oh, she probably just wants to emulate her mother. Don't worry. You know, she'll do a few classes and then possibly tire out. Why don't you take her for ballet or Kathak? She might just find it easier. And I was like, okay. And then came the birthday parties where she got dolls and all the DIY art kits, almost getting nudged to do the expected. But Ira was adamant. She continued. She did not tire. She did feel lonely at times, you know, because the other girls in our colony, they would go to each other's house in the evening. They would play ghar ghar, board games, and but she had a football class every alternate day, so she couldn't. So she was not a part of the gang. But I continued to tell her and tell myself, Ira, nobody gets to tell you what you can do or cannot do, what you can be or cannot be. You get to decide. Not the family, not the traditions, not the world. And she went on to that football field every alternate day with that huge, unapologetic, confident grin. She's 12 years old now, and she's a part of the under-17 football team. Right, so the kids continue growing, and siblings will be siblings. The age difference between my son and daughter is about 5 years, okay? And they're like Tom and Jerry. Can't live with you, can't live without you. And when they fight, the decibels go up, right? Now when my son Kabir raises his voice, there's a reaction from other people. My, he's growing up to be a man. But when Ira gives it back with equal conviction, equal energy, what is the reaction that she gets? Kitni ladaki hai? How bossy, how headstrong, how aggressive. Same behavior, different judgment. And does this judgment end here? No. This judgment continues into our workplaces and continues to judge men and women differently on their leadership styles, on decision making, on financial independence, and on career choices and whatnot. Men are assertive, women are aggressive. Man is a leader, woman is bossy. Patriarchy was not born in the boardrooms. It lurks in the little corners in our homes. So what do I do with these two? I firstly scold both of them equally. I ground both of them equally. I snatch their screen time equally. It doesn't matter he's a boy or older, she's younger or a girl, nothing matters. Equal punishment. And then I sit them down and I tell them that every conflict has a solution. You need to speak to each other like civil people. And once you speak to each other like civil people, you will find a solution. And once you find a solution, stick with the right thing to do. I know, easier said than done, but I will keep on trying like a woodpecker. So while all of this goes on, something else happened. One day I was walking by my son's room and I could hear some rap music playing. And the lyrics of the song went something like this. I need a rich baby daddy with a boat and a jet. So, he possibly did or did not understand the deeper meaning, but I stopped in my tracks. Because to me, there was a message that objectification of women was okay. And it definitely was not okay for me. But how do I tell my son that masculinity is not about power and dominance? It's not about pulling chairs, opening doors, yes ma'am, no ma'am, without sounding preachy. So when he got an opportunity to work with a project on social impact in school, I suggested that he work with acid attack survivors. Acid attack is possibly the most heinous crime, not just against women, but against humanity. Acid attacks just don't leave scars on their victims, but they rob their victims of dignity, of dreams, of hope, of a possibility of a livelihood with companionship. And these were some of the people, some of the women that my son spent time with, trying to understand what were their stories, what were their aspirations, what is it that they wanted to get skilled on, what is it that they wanted to do. He spent time with them, he shared meals with them, sang songs with them, played games, even celebrated Diwali with them. Today he's on Instagram with them, they like each other's posts. And in this experience, I believe he learned a lesson that no course, no class could have taught him. The value of human respect. Human respect is not gendered. Human respect is not a function of a title or a designation or social status. It comes from somewhere deep within. And in that moment, I felt quiet pride. And I know that each day there is a new challenge that the society throws at us, at me, at all parents, where they try to make children, young adults, fit in. But we continue this battle one day at a time and one step at a time. So today, I want to tell all the young people here today and all young adults, you were not born to fit into somebody's mold. You were not born to please the world. You were not born to fit into societal gendered norms that shackle. You were born to question. You were born to challenge. You were born to recraft, rebuild a new world. You were meant to be cycle breakers. You are not too bold, you are not too curious, and you are not too ambitious. And if the world tells you otherwise, take a deep breath, stand tall, and remember that you are loved, valued, and never ever alone. Thank you.